Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an all-new edition of On the Mark TV and Radio from Westfield's Community Programming and its network at 89.5 FM WSKB, Agawam Media, and Southwick Community Television. I'm your host, Mark Auerbach, and today in this hour, we're going to be chatting with Markus Jones and Yolanda Ramirez from Riverside Industries, which is a nonprofit here in Western Massachusetts, which does some really incredible work. And you get a chance to learn about the stuff that they do and the people that are impacted and involved. Basically, Riverside Industries empowers people with either intellectual or developmental disabilities. And for over 50 years, they provided individualized services to them, helped them in terms of education, employment opportunities, and more. I learned about Riverside Industries a long time ago when I was working with a colleague at the Springfield Symphony Orchestra, who later went on to be a vice president of the Springfield Museums. And she had custody of her younger brother who had Down syndrome, and he was in his 30s. And Riverside Industries found him a job, which he was so thrilled to do, and he was in food service. And Riverside Industries found him group housing so that he was able to live somewhat independently and changed the scope of a young man's life who didn't have a lot of possibilities. So my learning about Riverside Industries back then made me realize what an integral part of the community it is. So first of all, welcome to both of you.
Thanks, Mark.
So, yeah, how did both of you, let's start with how both of you got involved in Riverside Industries. We'll start with you, Markus.
So I knew nothing about Riverside before coming here just over 2 years ago. But I was looking for a new opportunity. As a professional fundraiser, I was looking for an organization that I felt like I really could wrap my arms around the mission and the impact and really make a difference in the community. And I came here, I took a tour, I met the new president and CEO. I met some of the staff and saw this sort of immense positivity, this eternal optimism that exists in the space, and fell in love with it. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And it's been a little over 2 years, and they still like me, and I still like them. So we're holding steady.
And you do more than fundraising for Riverside Industries. You have a bigger role than that.
Right. It's really sort of two-pronged. One is fundraising, communications, and then the other is what we call strategic operations. And I work in partnership with our president and CEO. Think of me as the conductor of strategic planning, and taking on strategic projects that really are meant to advance the mission of the organization, and refocus the mission of the organization in some cases, and to drive revenue into the organization as best we can. And then to find ways to resource those through fundraising. So those two things sort of fit together.
Well, you come up with a good idea and you're in a nonprofit, and nobody's going to hand you a check. You have to go out and find the money.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And Yolanda, what is your role and how did you find Riverside Industries?
My role is a DSP, Direct Support Professional, but there's a story behind that. Before I got involved with Riverside, becoming a staff, I was looking for a day program for my daughter, Ashley, who also has Down syndrome. And she's a part of the Life Enrichment Department. She was probably here about 2 to 3 years when I actually came and joined Riverside. Honestly, I was looking for a day job, and I figured, you know what, I'm just going to go and apply. And I did, not knowing the outcome, and I just fell in love with it.
How long has Riverside been around, and what prompted people to start it?
So
Great
Oh,
question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Yolanda.
no, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay. This is our 57th year in operation. June 6th, actually, we will celebrate our anniversary of our founding. But the organization started really, it was a small group of parents, just like Yolanda, caregivers, led by a member of the local clergy, their minister, Father Robert Wagner. And, they were just looking for a better way to provide services or to care for their loved ones who were living with disabilities. You got to think it was a time when institutions existed. The way to care for folks was to institutionalize them, and they thought there's got to be a better way to do this. Really their mindset was giving folks a job, giving folks an opportunity to contribute and be a part of society in a way that was meaningful for them.
And how many clients do you serve, and where do they come from?
So we have in the life enrichment department that Yolanda just mentioned, we have about 54 clients. And this is our day hab program. They come from all over the 3 counties in Western Mass. As far away, if you drew a circle around our organization on a map, they could come from as far away as 90 minutes from here. In our community-based day services and employment program, we've probably got around 75 program participants. And again, these folks are coming to us from 3 counties in Western Mass. We transport them, in some cases, to our organization here in East Hampton and then out to the job sites where they may work or be volunteers.
And where are some of the work sites that they're placed in?
So I'm going to answer this question quickly, and then I want Yolanda to say a few things here because she has some information about that.
Okay.
Traditionally, we've had jobs in the dining halls. We have a 25-year relationship with the UMass Dining Services. And so we've placed folks in the dish room or in prep kitchens, direct service on the serving lines. We also work on some special projects at UMass with their plant and property crew. That has also led to other partnerships such as Amherst College. Westfield State is another one, which we're quite proud of. But we've worked in some other places doing light manufacturing, such as Pelican up in Deerfield, or some other locations. But I know Yolanda has actually worked as a job coach out at some of our job sites.
Yes. So Yolanda, explain how that works.
So basically, our individuals, there's usually 5 to 6 individuals that we transport to UMass. There's Blue Wall, there's Franklin Dining Hall, Hampshire, Berkshire, and basically supporting them and their work tasks, which it can be wiping tables, working in a dish room. Yeah, so it's really it's really nice seeing them doing their job, and yeah.
Do they work a full day? Do they work an 8-hour shift, or is it a shorter shift to accommodate transporting them to and from?
Well, they do arrive here at Riverside at 8:45 to 9, and we transport them to the dining halls between 9:15, 9:30, but they usually begin their shift at 11. And they're there till 11 to 2, and then return back to Riverside.
So they're the lunch crew at all these places.
Yes, and the best part is free lunch. And it's what UMass is, 6 years, the best dining hall
Yeah,
Food.
it's gotten awards. I used to work for the radio, the NPR station, and when I worked there, it was on the UMass campus, and we were allowed to go and eat in the various dining commons, and it just wasn't the greatest at that time. And I guess within the last 10 years, it's become one of the best dining commons in the state.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just say the Worcester Dining Commons, which is state-of-the-art facility, it's brand spanking new, is just beautiful. It's modern, and folks love going to work in that environment. I always make the joke that in the morning when all the program folks are here and they're preparing to get on the van and go back out to their job sites, it is the happiest, most excited bunch of people that are headed into work that you will ever encounter in your life. And you can see it on their face. They're excited about the work they're about to do.
And how do the people in the dining commons in these various things take to the people from Riverside coming in? Are they great mentors, or do they think of your clients as colleagues? What's the relationship like when they actually get on site?
They do. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
I can
Yolanda.
answer that. They take them with like their colleagues. They don't treat them any different. They are individuals. It's not like, oh yeah, they're the group from Riverside. Absolutely not. They're one of the workers. They're one of their colleagues, and it's really nice seeing that.
That's great. What are some of the other job sites and placements that you take them that's not food and beverage related?
So we just recently re-engaged with a long-standing partner that even before the pandemic had gone away for us, which is Williston Northampton School right here in East Hampton. They're a neighbor. And they have welcomed an individual on campus to work with their athletic department and doing some custodial work. But it's a great opportunity for this particular individual because he's local. He lives in East Hampton, and this is the type of work that he has been wanting to do for a long time. But that's a new opportunity for us, is Williston. We've also, as I mentioned, Pelican. This was a placement up in Deerfield. It was light manufacturing, so we had folks that were putting together some of the products that they sell, cases, coolers, things of that sort. Unfortunately, that partnership has dissolved, but we would certainly love to get back in there if we could.
So when a client comes to you and you're going to send them out in the field to work, you provide the training, or does the client provide the training? And how do you reinforce the training that they get when they may have difficulties getting into sync? Yolanda can answer that because she's in the field every day.
That's exactly right. Take it away.
Okay, so before we actually take them out to or before they even get hired at UMass, we provide those skills here at Riverside, preparing them in the workforce. So, and even though the trainings that we provide here is not exactly in UMass in the dish room, when we're there, we support them in maybe sorting out silverwares, unloading and loading the dishes into the dishwasher. But even if they have the challenges, we keep on with them, or we find something. And the management from UMass, we work together and we try to support them and in those trainings that they won't get hurt until they feel comfortable in doing the work task.
You sent along some videos that we could show, and I'll show one in a second. But before I do, if somebody is listening today or watching, and they have a child with developmental difficulties, and they want their child to become a part of Riverside Industries, how do they do that? Do they just call you, or do they have to be referred? How does it work?
Yolanda,
So
you want to talk?
Okay, so basically, with my experience, my daughter Ashley, as she was in a transition program, she had a DD, DDD, DDS social worker, service coordinator that provided me with the resources and to connect with Riverside. So basically, they gave me the referral, and I made some phone calls and I came to visit Riverside. So basically, when your child is high school or in a transition program, there's resources out there that DDS will help you and give you a list of locations.
Okay, we're going to show this first video. It's with your CEO, Lynn Ireland, and then afterwards take an underwriting break to acknowledge the underwriters that make this program possible. Peter Coles is our chief engineer, and here's a video for you to get a sort of an introduction to Riverside Industries.
I'm Lynn Ireland. I'm the president and CEO of Riverside Industries. We're based here in East Hampton. We've been in business for almost 55 years, serving the needs of individuals of all abilities, and specifically focusing on those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as individuals with autism across the spectrum.
The job is fulfilling. It's helping people. It's knowing they get from point A to point B safely.
It was apparent that it was an excellent job. The people that I work with, really great. The training staff made learning so easy. And the people that I drive for are incredible.
Being a good driver is really important here in our transportation department because our drivers actually pick our clients up in the morning, they safely bring them in, and then they come back at the afternoon and they pick up our clients and make sure that they are safely returned to their home.
You don't get a sense of hierarchy or authority. It definitely is a group effort in making the best day for each person that's here.
It's a great team to be working with. Everyone here has your back and is there to support each other.
I feel like we all have the same purpose of wanting to help the clients, meeting their needs, and being able to meet their goals.
We right here in the bottom of the mountain. We just with our goals, what we want to do in our life by step by step by step by step on top of the mountain.
When I started here, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I really just felt like I was coming home every time I came to work.
I feel like I'm at home. This is my job. This is where I fit in.
It's just heartwarming for me. It's a great job because I like to help people.
It's fun to come to work.
You learn to grow. They learn to grow. Here, staff grow with our clients, and we become an extended part of their life, just like a family.
The staff here work as a team. And I think one of the things that as a parent you see right away, are they working as a team? Are they happy together? Do they support each other? Because then the adults they're working with know this and they feel comfortable with that.
You get to form really meaningful, important relationships with people, with colleagues, with clients, and they with the staff.
And you feel that they're very invested in your child.
It's awesome. It's a family, a beautiful, big, happy family.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
I'm Mark Auerbach. Join me every Friday at 8 a.m. for Arts Beat, where you'll meet interesting actors, directors, designers, and musicians here in Western New England.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
Welcome back to On the Mark, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Auerbach. Peter Coles is our chief engineer. If you want to watch this or listen to it again or share it with friends, this program will be archived on YouTube under WSKB Community Radio. And I realize we're showing videos during the course of today's program. So if you're listening on radio, maybe you'll want to go back and check out the videos on WSKB Community Radio's YouTube YouTube page. We're chatting this hour with the folks from Riverside Industries, Markus Jones and Yolanda Ramirez. Riverside Industries in East Hampton provides services and opportunities for people who are developmentally challenged on one level or another, or physically challenged on one level or another. Before we talk more about the programs and services, Markus, with the federal government in the news stopping all funding and grants, how does this impact what you're going to face in the short term?
Yeah, I mean, what a frightening scenario. I just shudder to think about all of the federal funding and all of the services that are funded through federal funding that our program participants interact with, whether it's housing, transportation, healthcare, the list goes on and on. Most of our programming is funded through state contracts. I think that we may be somewhat insulated in the short term, but as this change in administration and these new initiatives really start to take shape later down the line, I think we could see some really significant impact on our program participants.
And what kind of a budget do you have on an annual basis to provide all the programs and services, and where does the money come from?
So we have about a $10 million operating budget, and I know that sounds like a big number, but really it's a shoestring budget for us. The cost to provide the services is pretty high. We have state contracts that fund most of our programming costs, but not all of them. And so, we have contracts with the Department of Disability Services. This is DDS that Yolanda referenced earlier, Mass Health. We have a contract to provide transportation services through MART. Those contracts really provide the core of the service. If we're going to do anything to elevate the program or to advance our mission in the scope of those programs, whether it's through pay for our staff, services provided, or even changes to the facility, we do that through fundraising. As you know, that's tough, and there could be implications to that with changes in federal funding.
And as we're talking here, if people want to learn more about Riverside, how can they find out? Can you share your website and your social media information?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is rsi.org, and you can find us on our YouTube channel. Just search Riverside Industries. You can also find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, and we're also on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay. I want to show another video, and this one is about the relationship between Riverside and the University of Massachusetts. So, Peter, if you can roll tape, please.
Riverside Industries and their staff have been an integral part of our operations here at UMass for over a decade. Their staff works seamlessly with ours, contributing positively to the cultures and values here at UMass. The staff here are hardworking, reliable, and honestly, maybe most importantly, they like to have fun. And that really, truly lifts the spirit of some of our full-time staff members.
On a daily basis, when I interact with Riverside's employee, that they come in and greet us and greet our staff, come in very happy mood, and they actually help our staff to get through our hardest, busiest time. They also wanted to improve themselves by attending different training.
You can only imagine the logistics it takes to run an operation of this magnitude. UMass Dining serves over 50,000 meals a day.
Our clients are transformed. Their identities change when they come to work here at UMass, and they join this amazing team providing excellent dining services. Our mission is to empower adults with disabilities to live rich and full lives, and we do that in the workplace here and thoroughly enjoy that. teamwork and valuing respect and dignity for all members on this campus, and those values are held by our staff at Riverside.
Riverside Industries' mission really coincides with UMass Dining's, empowering people, contributing positively to the campus culture here at UMass. Our staff, rely on the support we receive from Riverside Industry, and they truly enjoy working side by side with them.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Young people smiling and your clients smiling. So I can only imagine that this is such a great opportunity for them. And I applaud you for that. Yolanda, what is the age range of the clients that come into Riverside? What is the youngest client that you'll take, and how many stick it through for the majority of their careers?
So basically, we also have a transition program. So usually the earliest, I believe, and Markus, please correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is 21 to the age of 65.
And so we've had clients as young as 14, and we have one currently who is in his mid-70s.
Okay, thank you.
So you can provide them with a lifetime of experiences. Yeah, we can. And really, it's just as you said at the top of the interview, it's tailored to meet their needs. And really, it's experiences, it's acceptance, it's personal growth. You know, just as you and I, our needs, our aspirations change over the course of our life. You know, life is full of seasons, and Riverside has an array of programming and a personalized approach so that we can meet individual clients' needs as they go through seasons of their life as well. Yolanda, what is the biggest misconception that people in general have about developmentally challenged individuals?
That they can't meet their goals, probably. They can't do the job. And that's totally the opposite, because they can. I see a lot of individuals that are determined to work, and by them coming to this program and us supporting them and reaching that goal, it's so fulfilling. I mean, nothing's impossible. You know, sometimes they have doubts, and I'm like, I can't do it because of my disability. No. You know, we empower them, we support them, and they can, with the right support and the training, they're able to accomplish anything that they put their mind to.
And I would assume that any parent who has a developmentally challenged child worries about how that child will survive and thrive, especially as they get older and maybe can't provide for the child or they pass on. How will that child grow up and have a satisfying life? So do you provide help to the parents as well and the families so that they can provide a good base for their child who goes into Riverside, gets a career, and moves forward?
Absolutely. That is the greatest part of my job, that I'm also a staff, but also a mom a parent, and it's hard. It's not easy because those challenges come across every day of our lives. What's going to happen, when I'm not here? But one thing I can say is that there's a lot of resources, and the challenges in my experience with my daughter. There was at one point that her transitioning, graduating her last year in high school, there's been, there was challenges, and one day she was able, to talk, and then one day she just stopped, and it was very challenging because of all the changes that she was going through, and I didn't know what to do, but I'm very thankful that I was able to find a really good community here at Riverside for her. And seeing her, I really don't like talking about this because it gets me off.
Yeah, I'm sure it's emotional, but there are so many people out there that have no idea about how they see people with developmentally or physically challenged children, and they may wonder, well, what happens to the kids? But also, I would think that they wonder how the parents deal with it. And the fact that you have experienced it and then taken this and gone to work for a company that's providing your daughter and other children this opportunity to grow up and live a fulfilling adulthood. I think that your vision based on your experience is real helpful to other people out there that are listening or watching that may be impacted.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. And I know Ashley's gonna be okay. I know she's gonna be okay. She's talking, which she has stopped, and with all the support that she receives, and the supporting environment here in the Life Enrichment Department, I'm very, very grateful. Me and my family are very grateful.
Yeah. Do you provide housing opportunities for these young adults, group homes, or is that not part of Riverside's role?
No, we don't do that yet. Hopefully, maybe in the future.
We back in the early stages of our founding, Riverside ran group homes, and then eventually got out of that business. So a lot of the participants who come to Riverside do live with their families. They live in group homes. Sometimes they may start out living with a family and then move into a group home. It just depends. But we do not provide housing, but it is certainly something that we are always looking into.
So technically, a young adult graduating high school can join the team at Riverside and stay until they retire.
They could technically. We're in 5 schools locally, including the Clark School and Willie Ross down in Springfield. And yeah, I mean, as they age out at the age of 22 of the school system, and they begin to think about the next steps for them, whether it's post-secondary education, internships, day hab programming, whatever the case may be, job training, they could come to Riverside at that point and stay on with us until they retire. Absolutely.
You sent another video over which features Silas Koff, who's well known in the area. What is the relationship between him and Riverside?
Silas and Riverside go way back. Silas was a tenant in the building first. We didn't mention this, but Riverside owns One Cottage Street, which is a large repurposed mill building. He was a woodworker here in the building and had a woodworking studio. And he talks about it in his story, but he met some of our program participants and really became more engaged with the organization at that point. He later became a board member, and has been our celebrity auctioneer for the Riverside auction for 21 years now.
Okay, we're going to show a video with him, and then when we return, we'll do some underwriting announcements. Peter Coles is our chief engineer.
When I moved into my space at the woodworking school, which was up on the 4th floor of the One Cottage Street building, I was setting up, organizing things in my shop, and somebody appeared in the door, leaned in and said, "Oh, there's a new guy here." It was one of the clients, and curious about woodworking, and said that he wanted to be a woodworker too, and struck up a conversation. And he and I are still friends to this day. In fact, I even have employed him here to come to the shop, working once a week to help organize my life, straighten things up and clean, etc. And it's one of the relationships with people that I really treasure. Long, long ago, a friend who also is a tenant in the One Cottage Street building and I started to organize trips to sporting events. Hire a bus, take a bunch of people who wanted to go see a game to that event, and it was always so much fun. As soon as we finish one game, folks come up to us and say, "When are we going to go to the baseball game?" or "When are we going to the hockey game?" And so it's on people's radar that it's something that they really want to do. And one of the other things that I do at Riverside is, years ago when they started the auction, the president of Riverside was looking for someone who would actually be the auctioneer, and for whatever reason he thought I could do that job. So we just finished an auction, and it was great fun. I hope a great success. I enjoy the interaction with the clients, the staff, and the people who come to the auction, appreciating that this is a celebration of this important part of our East Hampton community. I've become friends with a lot of staff people over the years as well, and I am so impressed with the dedication that they've shown. And they're doing it because they enjoy the work, they enjoy the people, and I think that they enjoy knowing that they're providing these opportunities for other folks in our community. And boy, that's so important. As I have gone along and watched what Riverside does for people, I love that there are various levels of interaction between clients and their work experiences. Love to see people who have the ability to go out and work in the community, work at UMass or ChartPac or wherever that might be, to fulfill their roles and themselves in the community. And it's occurred to me over the years what an important aspect that is for our three-county region here, to have people who have a reason to get up in the morning, go to work, and have that job. If I were in that situation and had some disabilities, or I had a family member who had disabilities, I would want them to have a place like Riverside to be able to go to. If there were a way to expand some of the services to give folks a little more opportunity out in the community, that would be a wonderful thing, but that requires partners out there. It means that there are businesses who have to say, yeah, I think that this is an important component of our society that we need to give people a chance out there to fulfill themselves. And the one thing that I think about hiring Riverside people is that it would give a chance to for people out in the community to realize that there need not be barriers between themselves and people that they might think of as somewhat different from themselves. I want to say that my life has been enhanced by my interaction with Riverside Industries. I think it's made me a bigger and broader soul.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join me, Tina Gorman, each week from 6 to 8 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday, when my guests and I discuss health, wellness, and lifestyle reimagined.
Community Radio 89.5 WSKB.
Live from Studio 120 at Westfield Technical Academy, this is WCPC Channel 15 and 89.5 FM, WSKB Westfield.
We're back with Riverside Industries and Markus Jones and Yolanda Ramirez. What is the future plan for Riverside in terms of expansion of its services?
So we've just gone through a strategic planning phase to create what I'm calling a strategic framework. We've really identified 3 areas of our operation that we want to focus on over the next few years in terms of growth: our people, our programs, and our physical place. And they all sort of fit together. With people, we want to be an employer of choice. We want Riverside to be a magnet where people want to come here and work because of the benefits that we provide, the compensation that we provide, and the culture that we have. And so we're gonna invest in that. In terms of our programming, the cohort of turning 22, the students who are aging out of the school systems, and they're going to be looking for services that we provide. Their goals, their expectations are vastly different than those who are retiring on the other end of the spectrum. And so our programs need to change right along with them to meet their needs. And so we're going to be taking some hard looks at how our programs are delivered, the physical place where they happen, and the participants who interact with them. And then with our physical space, we've got this beautiful building that was given to us back in the mid-'70s. It's an asset, and it should be generating revenue that can fuel this organization. And so we're going to be making some investments. We've already begun this work, but we're going to be making some investments and some changes, not only to our relationship to the building, but to how the building operates, how it serves as a tool or a focal point for Riverside, something that our employees can be proud of, our clients, our program participants can be proud of to come into every day, as well as the tenants in the building.
And your tenants include the artists of One Cottage Street, which is kind of a magnet to the renaissance of East Hampton in terms of the arts and the creative economies. I know that you are making improvements to the spaces, and there was a news story back that you had to bring the building into a better shape, and we're raising rental costs to make that happen. But down the road, will you continue to have a commitment to the creative economy in East Hampton?
Yeah, the arts have always been a part of Riverside. And for the last 15 years, Riverside has maintained a Riverside Arts program where we actually provide an opportunity for program participants to explore different mediums. We give them tools and opportunities to show their art, to sell their art, and to really contribute not only to the local art scene, but to also provide an income, provide a business for them. Within the building, within the space, for over 50 years, we've had relationships with our tenants, and we've had a really strong presence of artists here in our building, and we still do, and we will continue to maintain that. We just need to think differently about how we manage the building so that it doesn't cost so much for Riverside. It's a real opportunity, not only for Riverside, for the tenants in the building, but also the city of East Hampton. And we don't take these decisions lightly, and we understand the importance of what we have. And yeah, so it's something that is a focal point for us.
So you have some of your clients that are learning and experiencing and expressing themselves through painting and sculpture and all of the other arts and crafts that are so prominent in East Hampton. Do you have any budding Michelangelos or Da Vinci's among them?
Boy, do we. We have some artists. You can go on our website, actually, and you can read some of their bios, and you can read about the type of art that they produce and even see some of it. But we have artists who have pieces that have been featured in the State House. We have artists who show and sell their art in local galleries, restaurants, and really just in the last probably 4 months, we have renovated a space here in our building and turned it into a Riverside Art Studio and Gallery. And so now, right in the front of the building at street level, we have a space where you can come in, you can interact with those artists, you can buy art from them. And we look forward to participating in art walks and cultural chaos in new and exciting ways where folks can really come right in and experience their art.
I'm going to ask Yolanda first and then you, Markus. Yolanda, you've joined Riverside Industries because of your child, but have stayed on to become a staff member and work towards the future. What is the one thing that you're proudest of being affiliated with Riverside Industries?
That is supporting our individuals and seeing their smile, knowing that we're making a difference in their lives. That is the most rewarding thing ever. That is the best part of my job. And I don't, there's just no words.
Exactly. And what about you, Markus? I mean, you've worked with a lot of nonprofits in the area. You were affiliated for a while with Bay State and then Northfield Mount Herman. And you chose Riverside as your next step. What makes you proudest of your affiliation?
It's the impact we're making. It's the fact that there is a group of people who normally are unseen, who are looked over and are not given an opportunity, that I have an opportunity, I have a chance to use my skills and my talents, as limited as they may be, to do something to make their life a little bit better. That is one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever experienced, and it keeps me going. And I also get to work with wonderful people like Yolanda that makes this job feel like it's not a job. And I can't say enough about the dedicated team that we have here.
I mean, any of us that have worked in advancement or marketing or public relations in their career, they're always glad to be affiliated with an institution, and they know what makes the institution important. But when you get the personal satisfaction of seeing a client smile or seeing somebody achieve something, and you either in the foreground or the background have helped to make that difference, that to me is the most rewarding.
It is. And I mean, there's a difference between a nonprofit having a mission and us accomplishing our higher purpose. And I feel like Riverside is truly doing things to make the world a better place. And to have even a small part in that is just amazing.
Well, I want to thank both of you for being here today. And before we go, if you could once again tell people how they could learn about Riverside Industries.
So Riverside Industries is in downtown East Hampton. Come see us. Come visit our Riverside Art Studio and Gallery. You can also find information on our website at rsi.org.
Yolanda Ramirez and Markus Jones of Riverside Industries, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this wraps up this edition of On the Mark TV and Radio. Peter Coles has been our chief engineer. I'm Mark Auerbach. If you've missed part of this program or you want to watch it again, it's archived on YouTube under WSKB Community Radio, and you'll get a chance to actually see some of the videos we played for you today. We'll see you next week with an all-new edition of On the Mark.
River in the rain, Sometimes at night you look like a long white train, winding your way away somewhere. River, I love you, don't you care if you're on the run? Winding someplace just trying to find the sun. Whether the sunshine, whether the rain. River, I love you just the same.
But sometimes in a time of trouble, when you're out of hand and your muddy bubbles roll across my floor, carrying away the things I treasure, hell, there ain't no way to measure why I love you more than I did the day before. River in the rain. Sometimes at night you look like a long white train, winding your way away somewhere. River, I love you, don't you care? But sometimes in a time of trouble, when you're out of hand and your muddy bubbles roll across the floor, hey, 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 carrying away the things I treasure, hell, there ain't no way to measure why I love you more than I did the day before. River in the rain. Sometimes at night you look like a long white train, winding your way away from me.
River I've never seen the sea.